Welcome back to Wormwatts, where we harness the God-given power of compost worms to transform organic waste into amazing living fertilizer. Now we're back in the first bin that I ever did a harvest of, which means the act of actually taking out the castings, the fertilizer that these worms actually produce. And we're just taking a look at this bin. We recently fed it an entire pumpkin. And as you can see, as we open the sides, we've actually got worms right there, right on the edges. So it's pretty exciting. That is the pumpkin itself. And I'm going to ready myself to go ahead and dig into this out here, which is a lot of coffee chaff. This is the brown material that we used. And it's feeling it and watching the last video, I feel like the coffee chaff is actually a little bit on the drier side. It's getting moist, but it's a little bit drier than I'd like it to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and just spray this bin down, because that is going to help. That is going to help with the decomposition. So let's go ahead and start doing that. I'm just gonna, in the last time I was here, I think I was avoiding spraying the pumpkin, but at this point, really, I think the whole bin can utilize a little bit more moisture, because I think that's just going to provide, or it's going to facilitate the bin being at the right conditions for just overall decomposition to continue to occur. We want the microbes to be able to get to the chaff as well, and to be able to exist on there. And with it not being quite at the optimal moisture level, I'm a little bit concerned that that could hamper the decomposition overall. So I'm gonna go ahead and water this down. And the pumpkin's definitely crumbling apart. We can see that. You can see the crack there in the pumpkin. And it is going to continue to just decompose. So we're not really doing anything extra per se, just providing the right conditions for it to be able to naturally decompose, especially with the microbes already existing in this bin. But yeah, we're getting that chaff nice and moist now. So I really think that's going to help. And before we leave the bin, I'm going to take a look underneath the pumpkin, just to see what we see from that end. Maybe we'll have some worm activity already over there. All right, so we've got our gloves on. We're just gonna go ahead and lift this up. I'm gonna get you nice and underneath there so that you can see this too. Right under there looks like we've got some leaf. Oh wow, you can see this is just, it's splitting wide open. And that is a lot of pumpkin seeds as well. Oh, cool, we got a fly in there. That's pretty normal. They're fairly opportunistic. But yeah, we can see this is all crumbling apart. And it'll just be a matter of time. I'm just gonna go ahead as it splits up, I'm just kind of putting it off to the side. Another piece over there. So the pumpkin is now really broken up. It won't be long before it's really eaten into. This part, it's got a lot of I guess molds and microbes really getting to work on that. That's the nice and fleshy part of the pumpkin there, exposed. So I imagine we'll be seeing that really start to get eaten up by the worms here fairly soon. Oh, look, did not see that. But there's already a worm busy in there. Look at that go. So that's a worm busy at work. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this down as well, just to make sure that it's sufficiently moist. Yeah, there's a good bit of worm activity way over in the corner here, because they're really nestled into the side of the bin. I imagine that might be a nice warm spot. But I'm excited to see them process this. The timeline that I think I gave last time was in the neighborhood of 2 months or so. At this point, I think it'd be about a month and a half for them to process all of this. And it might go a little bit longer than that, but it's just neat seeing what's come of it so far. As you can tell, the worms have not done much to decompose it. From my estimate, I feel like most of the work that's been done on it has been the decomposition of the pumpkin by the microbes. So that's not a bad thing. That really helps the worms to get a good grip into it. Usually, most of the feedstock that I use, I put through a bokashi pre-composting, and that really helps to get the microbes a real foothold on the food materials. But with this is one of the few times that I just went ahead and tossed in an entire item that had not been pre-composted. So this may take longer than it would, or it will take longer than it would had the item been pre-composted. But thanks for watching, and we'll check back in on this probably in a couple weeks and just see where it's at. So we've watered it, and I think it's in good enough shape to go from here. When we first stirred it, there was a sufficient grit as well, so I'm not really too concerned about adding any more of that. I just really love to see the worms just make more progress on what we have here. And you can see that worm just slinking away further into the pumpkin, which is really neat. So we'll watch this worm go, and then we'll check out for the night. It's a pretty slow retreat, so we're not expecting to see anything super quick. See the worm right there? The edge of my fingertip. All right, well, it doesn't look like the worm is in any hurry to leave. It's probably going to stay out for some time. So we are going to go ahead and check out here. But thank you for joining us and watching the fascinating wonder of a compost worm. So we'll say goodbye to these European Nightcrawlers and the Firstfruits bin, and we'll check back in on them later.